dias from Laos Point. This is the Rorschach Argentina update from the 23rd of July, 2026. A quick summary of what's going down in Argentina. It was a difficult week for Argentina as the dream of winning 2 World Cups in a row came to an end. On Sunday the 19th, Spain defeated Argentina 1-0 in extra time. Midfielder Enzo Fernandez received a red card in the 93rd minute, adding to a tough match where key players suffered injuries. Lionel Scaloni, the head coach, broke down in tears during his post-match press conference, expressing deep uncertainty about his future and noting the difficulty of rebuilding such a group. Scaloni and part of the squad returned to Buenos Aires on Monday the 20th. Thousands of fans braved cold rain to welcome the open-top bus near Ezeiza Airport and filled 9 de Julio Avenue near the Obelisco to thank the team for their historic run. Although President Milei initially offered the Casa Rosada balcony and proposed a national holiday, official public reception plans dissolved as most players dispersed abroad to rejoin their clubs. In the last few days, you might have come across an Anti-Argentina campaign on social media. Writing for the Buenos Aires Herald in English, Martina Jaureguy explores the international backlash against the country in her essay titled "Black Community in Argentina Responds to Accusations of Racism." The article examines how social media users, politicians, and Hollywood actors targeted the national team during the tournament, pointing to the absence of Black players on the roster. Jaureguy highlights responses from Afro-Argentine activists, Black expats, and local scholars who challenge those generalizations. To read the full piece, check out the link in the show notes. In a startling development involving World Cup participants, federal authorities in the United States delivered a sudden shock to Argentine football management right before takeoff. On Monday the 20th, Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI, agents detained Claudio Chiqui Tapia, the president of the Argentine Football Association, or AFA, at John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. Federal agents seized his smartphone, laptop, and electronic devices, causing a 2-hour delay for the charter flight carrying officials and players back to Buenos Aires. The operation forms part of a federal financial investigation by the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. Prosecutors are investigating potential money laundering and diversion of funds linked to a Miami-registered company that manages foreign commercial contracts for the national team. Federal judges issued formal subpoenas ordering Tapia, Pablo Tobishino, and the AFA treasurer, and 2 prominent businessmen to testify in Florida court on the 30th of July. With the international tournament now concluded, the executive branch in Casa Rosada is redirecting its focus to domestic policy and legislative battles. Cabinet officials held strategy sessions to build momentum for several stalled legislative initiatives aimed at supporting President Milei's potential re-election campaign in 2027. Key priorities on the upcoming congressional calendar include reforming the central bank's charter, revising national energy and transport subsidies, updating the fiscal innocence framework, and advancing a broad deregulation package designed by Federico Sturzenegger, the deregulation minister. Alongside legislative meetings, President Milei plans to resume an active travel schedule across the region and outside the country. His upcoming international trips include attending the launch of Flavio Bolsonaro's presidential campaign in Brazil, attending Keiko Fujimori's inauguration in Peru, meeting Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa, and visiting Colombia. While executive branch prepares its agenda, organized labor is launching a fresh wave of public demonstrations. On Wednesday the 22nd, the CGT, Argentina's primary labor federation, joined forces with other unions and retiree groups to march toward Congress. The mobilization marks the start of an escalated protest schedule following a brief pause during the World Cup, with organizers protesting against real wage contraction, pension adjustments, and executive economic policies. Union leaders warned that this demonstration is only the first step in a broader mobilization calendar for the second half of the year. Turning to legislative challenges in Congress, La Libertad Avanza, the ruling party, encountered a setback in the upper house. On Thursday, the 16th, the Senate postponed its formal debate on the administration's proposed private property protection bill until the 6th of August, after floor leaders failed to secure enough votes for passage. The proposed legislation, written by Sturzenegger, aims to limit state expropriation powers and eliminate existing legal restrictions on foreign ownership of rural land. The proposal targets a 2011 law passed during Cristina Fernández de Kirchner's presidency, which caps foreign land ownership at 15% at national, provincial, and municipal levels. While domestic reforms face legislative delays, international credit agencies are offering a vote of confidence in the country's macroeconomic adjustments. On Tuesday, the 21st, credit rating agency Moody upgraded Argentina's sovereign debt rating from Caa1 to B3 and shifted its outlook from stable to positive. Moody's highlighted that default risks have declined substantially as sustained fiscal surpluses, dropping monthly inflation, and ongoing economic liberalization improve national credit stability. Beyond credit upgrades, foreign trade performance provided another major boost to national reserves during the first half of the year. The National Institute of Statistics and Census, or INDEC, reported that Argentina accumulated a record trade surplus of nearly $14 billion between January and June. Total first-half exports reached almost $50 billion, setting a historic record that surpasses the total trade surplus recorded throughout all of 2025. In light of those global fuel markets, geopolitical tensions in the Middle East are sending ripples through global financial markets and local stock exchanges. Following military strikes between the United States and Iran that targeted key infrastructure in the Persian Gulf, global Brent crude oil prices jumped more than 15% over the past week. This global volatility pushed Argentina's country risk index above 418 basis points, temporarily stalling the government's goal of dropping below 400 points to re-enter global capital markets. Focusing further on energy developments, the oil production boom in Patagonia is enabling local governments to seek direct financing abroad. Officials from the Neuquén province traveled to Wall Street for an investor roadshow to pitch their first international bond issue since 2017. The provincial legislature already approved issuing up to $500 million in bullet bonds, featuring a 5 to 7 year maturity and target interest rates between 7 and 8%. The expanding energy and mobility landscape is also accelerating major shifts in the national automotive market, while Elon Musk's Tesla prepares to open a regional dealership in Uruguay this August. The company officially registered Tesla SRL in Buenos Aires City. Joaquin Lizarralde, a local executive, will manage operations across both banks of the Rio de la Plata as the brand prepares for its formal entry into the domestic market. Tesla's arrival coincides with an unprecedented surge in electric and hybrid vehicle sales, enabled by government decisions to eliminate import tariffs on up to 25,000 electric units per year. So far, BYD, the Chinese automaker, has captured nearly 70% of the market segment. In other business news involving international tech expansion, global digital asset firm Tether announced a $20 million investment in Argentine digital bank Ualá. The capital injection forms part of the $197 million funding round announced earlier this year, which values the financial technology company at $3.2 billion. Pier Paolo Barbieri, the founder of Ualá, clarified that Tether joins strictly as a financial investor, as current banking regulators in Argentina and Mexico prevent any direct integration of USDT stablecoins into the platform. And to close this edition, people across the country came together on the 20th of July to celebrate Dia del Amigo, or Friendship Day. This national holiday features widespread restaurant gatherings and asados, tracing its origin back to 1969, when an Argentine dentist felt inspired by the Apollo 11 lunar landing. He viewed Neil Armstrong's steps on the moon as a universal gesture of human unity and mailed over 1,000 letters across 70 countries, proposing July 20th as an International Day of Friendship. The Buenos Aires provincial government officially recognized the date 10 years later, establishing a cherished tradition. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Anything to ask or tell us, email us at info@rorschach.com. Nos vemos la próxima semana.